In this week's episode, we're going to build a quick little overlanding setup here for my fridge freezer for my Suzuki Samurai. So some of you guys might know I'm heading off on a trip to BC to run the Whipsaw trail, and I wanted a way to be able to hold my fridge freezer in the back of my Samurai without it bouncing around and jumping around. And I also wanted to build a little way to hold some tools or my camp stove or some cookware and stuff like that. So I'm just going to build this real simple, I'm going to call it a fridge freezer sled. It's going to be a real simple plywood box, and it's just going to slide in here. It's going to bolt down to the Samurai, and then the fridge will drop in here, the battery for the fridge will drop behind it. I'll strap the fridge down and I'll make just sort of a organizing toolbox over on this side and probably put a lid on it, and it'll be done and simple. So let's get to building this unit. So first off, check out this little fridge freezer I got. Actually, it's from Costco. It was fairly cheap. I think it only worked out to like 500 bucks for this fridge freezer. It's a 45 liter fairly decent sized freezer. It'll go down to -22, or you can just use it as a fridge. I've got it set to -3. I'm actually doing testing on it right now. I've got an RV battery down here hooked up to a solar panel outside, and I want to see how it's going to keep up. Hopefully it's going to keep up. If it doesn't, then I'll have to look at maybe adding another battery or something. But this is the first time I'm actually using this thing and really pretty much turning it on. So it should work awesome, and I think it'll hold enough food and drinks for me for the 5 days that we're going to be down at the Whipsaw, and it should be just fine. So we're going to build this tray, a spot to hold the battery, a spot to hold this fridge freezer, and then a spot over here with probably a lid that opens up and maybe some storage trays just inside to hold a few things. Maybe a strap system for the top so I can strap some stuff down, and simple as that. So let's get to building. I'll show you what I've got and how I'm building it. I'm just using stuff that I've got here in the shop. I got some leftover plywood from doing the jet boat floor, and I got some other plywood from leftover from building some drawers for my toolbox for my work truck, and I'm just going to use that stuff, just stuff I have on hand. So let's get after it. Alright, so here's the stuff. Here's my leftover strips from building drawers for my toolbox for my work truck. This is that chunk of plywood from the floor from the jet boat, and I've got it marked out here. It's going to end up being 35 wide and 34 deep, and the fridge freezer is going to go off to one side, and we're just going to build a little container, and this will be how high the sides are, just like that. So it's just going to have, you know, I'll be able to put my camp stove and stuff like that inside of here. Just something real simple, you know, some utensils, some cookware, whatnot. So it shouldn't take me more than a couple hours to throw this together, and just going to be a quick video, and by the time you guys watch this, I'll be wheeling to Whipsaw. So if you're interested, head out to the Whipsaw, meet us. We're going to be videoing Friday, Saturday, Sunday for sure on the Whipsaw, and me and Rob are going to be doing some videoing before, you know, Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, and probably Monday, and then we're leaving Tuesday to come back home. So let's get to building this unit. Alright, that's enough to make our outside box. So let's get some glue and some screws, and we'll screw it together. So I'm just using drywall screws because that's what I got. And I got this glue here from when I was building that canoe over there. And we're just going to throw some glue on this, set it in here, down flush with the table, and screw it on. So like I said, this is going to be a quick project. I'm not getting too fussy about things. As long as it's square and straight, that's all that matters. I got these boards here pre-cut. They're gonna slip in here. This one's gonna go like this. These holes are for cooling, for the cooler where the fan is, so that it can cool. And this slot here is for the plug-in, so that it can clear. And then the battery sits right in here, fairly snug, and it should fit, I mean, just perfectly. So let's go ahead and glue this sucker in. Now we'll flip them over and screw the bottom side of this one here. I've got this here cut, all ready to fit. It's gonna slide in here, and basically what that's gonna end up being, gonna be reinforcing for these hinges for this top door here that I've already installed the hinges on it. We're just gonna screw it on there. We'll cut these screws off, and it'll be pretty well done then. And then I think I've got one of them little rubber pull type latch system just to hold the top of the lid shut. So let's glue that board and screw it on. So we're basically just gonna throw some glue on this. Just for a little holding power. And this will just drop right down in here. Get glued to that. We'll drive a couple of screws in it to hold it where we want it. And that should work. We'll just put these down on here. Set the lid where we want it, where it's square with everything. Perfect. Now we're just going to take off some of these sharp corners, smooth it out, make it a little nicer, and so you don't catch no scissors. And now we're just going to install one of these to hold it down. And these tiny little screws that it comes with, man, they're not going to hold much, so I'm going to drive these. I'm going to drive these big deck screws in. So we'll find the center of the door. And we'll just drive this screw in. And we'll just cut them off later. That'll hold that lid shut from making any noise rattling around back there, and it'll be nice and solid, nice and tight. Beautiful. So I've got two of these old cook stoves that used to always sit in my camper, or I don't need both of them in the camper, I only need one. So, and it just happens, this one just happens to fit in here nicely. So we'll just build a divider to go across here, and then I'll figure out what other items I can put on top of this. So we'll cut a divider to fit in here nicely, and then we'll just glue and screw it in like I did with the other stuff. And I probably wouldn't have to put a divider in, but it'd be nice to keep it reasonably neat in there. And stuff you're gonna use regular, tools can go back here. Hopefully you guys not using the tools that regular, and the tools can go in the back part. And then any other stuff that gets used a little more frequent can just sit on the top. And I might put a few rings or tie down things so I can strap stuff down to the top of this box. For this divider here, I'm not going to glue it because I might want to take it out at some point in time and change up the way I've got it. And if I glue it in there, she's going to be pretty permanent. Fits in there nice and snug, so it won't rattle around or nothing like that. And that fits in there pretty snug. I just about don't even need to bolt it down. But we'll throw a few bolts in it just so it, I might even only throw 2 bolts in it just so it stays. Alright, now that I got them all pre-measured, we're just going to drill them out. Now that this is all pre-drilled, we're going to pull the sled out, drill the holes a little bit bigger, and install 4 riv nuts, and we should be basically done with this. Then we can install the battery in the fridge and start organizing some of this other stuff. And now we just got to install our riv nut. Simple as that. There, just like that. Now I just got to figure out how I'm going to tie it down. Probably just a couple straps from here to here, and same in the back, and a strap for the battery in the back. And there's our little overlanding system. So there it is, basically the finished product. No paint or anything, but I'm going to deal with that later. I'm on a time constraint here to make it to the Whipsaw. I still got some mechanical stuff I got to deal with on the Zook, but the little overlanding fridge freezer sled is built. It's in here. I know this is kind of hillbilly, but I'll probably end up getting some straps built and whatnot for this to make it a lot more easier and quicker to get in and out of there, and so it looks better than just this rope. Batteries in. We got this little cabinet built, and I got my cook stove in here, and I got a few other things like booster cables and other stuff. I'm still going to figure that out, but the basic overland fridge freezer sled is done. So if you guys are enjoying this sort of content, go ahead, subscribe, share, like these videos, hit the bell to be notified for future videos coming out. I'm putting out videos every Friday. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @Fabbin_adventures, and we'll catch you guys next Friday.